up, everybody? It's your boy Kenny bringing you guys a brand new spoiler-filled review slash recap, baby. We're going to be getting into none other than Netflix's biggest hit in a minute, other than maybe Stranger Things and very few other things on there. It literally beat the Stranger Things stream records, y'all. Shit is crazy. I'm talking about Wednesday, season 1, the Tim Burton directed, for the most part, show, man, and it's been sweeping the motherfucking nation, sweeping the entire globe right now. Everybody's loving them some Jenna Ortega. Everyone wants to do the Wednesday dance, you know what I'm saying? And if you appreciate the reference, why don't you go down below the video, man? Click that like button, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna help the channel out immensely so, sirs, and missuses, and everyone in between and all around the world, man. We're trying to grow this community, so make sure you're clicking the buttons and everything, sharing us with your friends, family, co-workers, significant others, brothers, mothers, sisters. You know the deal, man. But with no further ado, we're going to jump right into this thing, man, and giving y'all a little bit of background on myself as an Addams Family fan. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of the Addams Family or anything like that, but I am a fan of the Addams Family. I would consider myself a casual fan. I do enjoy pretty much every version that's come out. I haven't had the pleasure of reading the original comic strip or any of that stuff, but I need to get one of those books that kind of collects those or something. You know what I mean? But yeah, so I'm a pretty big fan of the Addams Family, and I especially love the Christina Ricci starring version with her Wednesday in the Addams Family and Addams Family Values remakes from the 90s, man. Y'all know, if you don't know, I'm a big I'm another 90s kid right here, born 94, so all those 50s remakes in the 90s during that whole boom, it was a hell of a time to be alive. So going into this version, I definitely had a little bit of trepidation. I definitely was a little more skeptical of it. But after seeing the initial trailer of Jenna Ortega starring as Wednesday, dropping the piranhas in the pool, eating up all those kids' junk, I was like, hold the phone, hold up. Tim Burton is involved. We got Jenna Ortega, one of the dopest new up-and-coming actresses working today. Absolutely love her work, man. And at 20 years of age, she actually absolutely blows my mind with the level of talent she has. We will be getting more into her in a bit, man. We're going to have a whole section just dedicated to her, man, because I got to tell you, one thing I'll say off the bat here, she definitely killed it. And just giving you guys a little bit of a spoiler alert right here, y'all, I definitely dug the show, I will say. After going in skeptical with pretty low expectations, I will say the show met my expectations for the most part and exceeded them for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really dug this show overall. And at 8 episodes, man, it wasn't really like too long of a series. I do think they could have trimmed the run times on a few of the episodes. You know what I'm saying? Maybe 2 to 3 of them. You know, maybe make a couple of the episodes a little bit more closer to a half hour. You know what I'm saying? Let some of the others be around 40, 50 some minutes. But for the most part, it was a well-paced show, you know what I'm saying, with the whole murder mystery thing going on, with Wednesday and her visions and all the stuff going on, with the evil pilgrim guy and all the stuff that goes way back in the history of the school that she is forced to attend after having piranhas eat up a bunch of kids' dicks and everything. She ended up getting sent to this new, AKA ripoff of Hogwarts over here, Nevermore, and where a bunch of freaks and ghouls and outcasts go to school, you know what I'm saying? Essentially, their version of Hogwarts mixed in with a little bit of My Hero Academia, you know what I mean? It's kind of what it reminded me of a little bit in that regard, you know what I mean? Just no quirks. So going on from there, and that's pretty much your initial setup, and just getting into the characters, getting into some of the things I really dug about the show, man. I gotta say, I dug most of the characters. Even the newer ones that they introduced strictly in this series, I really, really dug them, man. Like Christina Ricci's character of Marilyn Thornhill, I thought was a very, very interesting character. Love getting to see Christina Ricci back in the Addams Family franchise doing a new role. And I like when they do some of that legacy casting and put them in new roles that are integral to the actual storyline without making them get in the way of the new lead and putting them in something completely different. So that way you can separate the two and appreciate them for the roles that they're taking on in the current installment of the series. So I really, really dug that with Christina Ricci and her casting in here. You got the great. Oh my gosh, I just mixed up her name, the first 2 letters of her name with great. But I'm talking about the great Gwendolyn Christie as Principal Weems up in here, man. And I got to tell you, She was also really, really dope in this show. The woman's has never looked more gorgeous and breathtaking on screen, though. I will say that, and she's a beautiful woman in general, in my personal opinion. But I gotta say, man, Tim Burton and the makeup team and everybody really made her up, man. They really, really knocked it out of the park there, and getting past all the facades and all the physical shit. Obviously, her acting was just so good, and she had such great chemistry with everyone she was on screen with. But the real big thing that I want to give her props for here is her chemistry with Jenna Ortega is Wednesday. Like their whole back and forth in the really kind of mentor role that she's playing to her in such a very in the way that and Wednesday's so antagonistic towards her and everything like that. I really, really dug their dynamic as actors and as characters in the series, and I would really love to see Gwendolyn Christie and Jenna Ortega work together again on something else outside of this. Because spoiler alert, if you don't be looking at the thumbnails and ain't paying attention in the comments and I mean in the description, we're gonna be spoiling the hell out of this thing. Y'all know the deal. We strictly almost always do spoiler reviews and recaps and shit like that around here. It's just better to get into all the nitty gritty details. But she's dead, man. Weems doesn't make it. She ends up getting killed off there in the finale. So we probably aren't going to see any more Gwendolyn Christie in a season 2, because I'm pretty much sure it's a foregone conclusion that Netflix any day now is going to confirm there will be a Wednesday season 2. They directly set it up at the end of the season with a freaking Wednesday talking about with her narration, with her making her little writings and her wanting to be a author and all that, that she knows that there's some loose ends, there's things tied up. Who was the ultimate person behind everything? Was Christina Ricci really the big bad and all that stuff, which I figured she wasn't. But and we'll get more into her plot and her whole thing later, because I was a bit disappointed with some of the aspects of that part of her character. But overall, man, really, really dug that. And Luis Guzman and Catherine Zeta-Jones are okay as Morticia and Gomez. I wouldn't necessarily say I loved them in the roles, but they were okay. Like I preferred Catherine Zeta-Jones as Morticia more so than Luis Guzman as Gomez, you know what I mean? I wasn't really necessarily loving him in the role. He wasn't doing his typical shtick, you know what I mean? Because he usually plays like a low life or some kind of criminal in like 90% of the movies that the guy ever stars in. But he definitely wasn't playing into that shtick here or into the same old things that he's known for doing. But at the same time, I don't necessarily think he nailed the character of Gomez Adams and brought something new to it and fresh that really, really, or at least really, really was working for me. Not necessarily the case, but overall, really, really dug it. Really, really dug it. For the most part with the casting. And then you got Fred Armisen as Uncle Fester, and it's really weird seeing him from Portlandia and stuff like that, being such a comedian and such a comedic actor overall. But I gotta say, Fred Armisen was one of my favorite aspects of this series, man. He really came into his own and really, he really made the character of Uncle Fester his own. He really, really stepped into those shoes and really filled them out well, man. Like, he really did a phenomenal job, and his whole dynamic with Jenna Ortega as Wednesday was so fucking awesome. Really, really dug it. You instantly bought their chemistry. You instantly bought that they were related and they were those characters, and that whole vibe between them really, really worked well for me, man. And I even feel they didn't give me enough Uncle Fester, man. I'll even put that as a little nitpick right there. Give me some more Uncle Fester. I'll take an Uncle Fester series, man. I like it. He's on the run. He's getting blamed for shit and escaping from prison and all this shit. It's so funny, man. I really, really dug his version of the character. And yeah, man, overall, man, it was really, really good casting overall, man. I really got to say, the newer characters as well, I'm forgetting some of their names, which maybe is a little bit of a negative, but overall, I really did like the newer characters, you know what I'm saying? They were really, really, really well done, in my personal opinion. But yeah, man, and getting into some of the people behind the scenes here that I want to give some shout outs to, the actual creators of the show, or the showrunners, if you will, are a couple of guys that usually work on a lot of the CW series over there before they all started getting canceled and all that shit. But and I'm not saying them getting canceled, but the actual shows getting canceled. You know, the actual definition, the original definition of the word canceled, not the controversial one. But Alfred Goh and Miles Miller, I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce that, but those two guys, they actually co-created and co-showrun the thing, with Tim Burton being really heavily involved in it as well. I believe he might have pitched the idea. I'm not 100% sure on that, but he directed 4 episodes in there, and I want to give a shout out to 2 of the other directors that did the other 4 episodes, 2 between each of them, James Marshall and Ganja Montenegro, and I'm not exactly familiar with them two, but I think they did a really good job with the episodes that they did overall, and I really, really dug the direction, the overall style of the show. And I do think the tone, for the most part, really, really struck a good balance between a little more of that teen drama, that teen kind of thing, and kind of bringing that darker humor and that darker sensibility of horror and just what the Addams family is, really all about and the roots of where it comes from. You know what I'm saying? Because I do hear and I have read online that the comic strip is a little bit darker. It does have a little bit of things suggested that they might be doing some more sinister stuff than what the TV versions and movie versions make it out to be. You know what I'm saying? Maybe minus this one. But yeah, man. So really, really dug that, and I think Tim Burton was at his best here that he's been at ever since Big Eyes or something like that. It has been years since Tim Burton's really been on his A game, man, and he was definitely on his A game with this one. I really, really dug the episodes he directed. I really, really dug his overall feel and style in this thing. And it's just tailor-made and really fits like a glove when it comes to the Addams Family franchise and Tim Burton's overall style and his filmmaking. Almost like it's almost like a subgenre in and of itself at this point. You know what I'm saying? But that Tim Burton style really, really fits here and really, really works. And I think elevates the series at times as well. And Gao and Miller also wrote some of the episodes as well with another couple writers, Kayla Albert, April Blair, and Matt Lambert. Not exactly familiar with them either, but hey, man, they got they did a good job as well. And yeah, man, it's really dope how Go and Miller really, really went all in on this thing, and they did so many things behind the scenes other than just direct the episodes themselves. So it's really cool to see that those guys really seem to be all in on it. And yeah, man, I really, really dug that. And getting into some of the mixed and negative things that I kind of felt about the series before I end off with my girl Jenna Ortega to end on a more positive note. I will say, overall, I did think the overall plot of like what was going on in the whole reveal of the murder mystery thing going on with the monster, or essentially the Hyde going around killing all folks and whatnot. The whole plot of how it comes together with Christina Ricci's character of Marilyn Thornhill, and the fact that she was the girl from the story back in the day that wanted to get revenge on Nevermore for making her an outcast of even outcasts, and she actually she's actually a normie that wants to infiltrate the outcast to get rid of the outcast. My bad for misspeaking there. And she actually is related to the evil pilgrim guy that killed off Wednesday's ancestor that was also played by Jenna Ortega. So she had dual roles going on there, which we'll get into in just a moment here. But yeah, really, really convoluted. I don't understand exactly why she wanted to bring back that douchebag anyways. He was an asshole to her as soon as he came back. They didn't really work together on anything. Her really kind of being involved in that didn't really amount to like a really cool twist in the way that I think they were intending it, at least. And I definitely didn't see it coming from a mile away. I'll give him credit there, but just the overall explanation of why the twist is there and what the overall motivation is doesn't really quite land for me personally. But overall, I really, really dug Christina Ricci in the role. I really, really dug her performance and thought she played both sides pretty convincingly and whatnot. I did buy her performance. I just didn't buy the writing and the explanation and the whole reasoning and logic behind it. Didn't quite add up for me. And then I do feel like that CW feel does get in the way of the darker tone that really does strike a great balance at times, but I think at other times in like episode 5 and some instances of episode 4 and so on and so forth, I do think they kind of get a little bit too much more in that Riverdale kind of vibe that I'm not necessarily a huge fan of, you know what I mean? And I'm not like some old ass man or anything, but I'm definitely far away from being a teenager at this point. So, and I didn't even like the YA stuff coming up, like Hunger Games and all this other stuff. I didn't even like that as a teenager growing up. I didn't like Twilight or anything like that. So never really been my vibe for the teen drama, kind of stuff. I never watched 90210 or any of that shit. You know what I mean? So I'm not really into all that kind of shit. I don't even watch reality TV really. So that's just not my vibe. So that kind of stuff kind of coming in here, not reality TV, but you know what I'm saying. That whole teen vibe didn't necessarily jive all the way organically and seamlessly all the time as I at least would have liked it to, at least for myself. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier, I think the pacing on some of the episodes could have been trimmed down a little bit just to make more brisk pacing, just move the episodes on a little bit faster and stuff like that. And I did see the whole Hyde reveal kind of coming as well, because they made that one guy that she was blaming such a red herring that I was like, there's no way it could be him, because they're making him way too suspicious. They're pointing the finger at him way too much. And when they're pointing you so hard in this direction, there's something going on over here that they're trying to sort of pull a wool over your eyes to get that twist on you. And like I said, that twist doesn't necessarily come together in a way, at least I thought was like all the way effective, at least for me personally. It was like half effective, you know? It really wasn't really working for me on that level. But I did like how I didn't see Christina Ricci being the villain, but I don't like really, like I mentioned, just why doesn't really make sense. It's kind of stupid. The why and the how is kind of like, huh? But the person that it was, interesting. Didn't necessarily predict it. Just got to keep it real there. But a little bit on the middle on that. Yeah, and as I mentioned, a little bit in the middle on Catherine Zeta-Jones and Luis Guzman, but overall passable, not really a huge deal for me. But getting into the fun part of this, man, the funnest part for me personally, as a big fan of hers, Jenna Ortega herself, she absolutely killed this role, man, and I figured she would. I figured she would come through and deliver a great performance, as she always does in all the roles I've seen her in, and she does no different here, and I think she gives Christina Ricci a run for her money, and obviously she gets almost 8 hours to do it, so she gets a lot more time in the role. You get to see her do a lot more with the character, and I think she does such a great job at playing it straight face, at playing it really, really like one note, but also showing some other shades of emotions and other sides to Wednesday that you don't necessarily see as much in the other versions, and it doesn't necessarily go against or contradict what you know from the character previously established, from what was previously established with her character and everything like that. Just the whole mannerisms and her facial expressions and the way that she like very minimally even blinks is fucking crazy. And apparently she improvised that on set, and Tim Burton and them didn't even know that was gonna happen. And he said, "Oh shit, just keep doing that for the rest of the time, and holy shit, we're gonna take this thing to the next level." And I love that she came up with something that even Tim Burton didn't fucking see. That's a visionary filmmaker that's been doing this shit for almost 40 years, if not 40 years now. About 40 years, I'd say. It's fucking crazy, man. It's so crazy. So I love the way that, you know, Jenna Ortega, man, just an absolute powerhouse of talent right there, man. And she was so, like, witty and funny, but also so endearing in certain instances as well. And the way that she's able to achieve that as being the character of Wednesday Addams, to me, very impressive. Once again, talking about chemistry with other actors, she had infinite chemistry with everybody. There was not an awkward scene with her and anyone except for maybe the Julian kid. But other than maybe that actor in particular, I think she pretty much was good in the scenes, but I don't think he was necessarily matching her. But she was killing it in every other scene, and especially with all the other people, and almost elevating their performance to a certain extent as well. You know what I'm saying? So absolutely loved it. And there's no way I'm doing this review without talking about the dance, baby. Freaking Cramps, man. Goo Goo Muck, that shit was so damn hilarious, so damn well done. And apparently, she just improvised that shit on the spot, because they had it that there was going to be a dance scene in the script. They didn't even have the song picked out from the Cramps yet until a week before they shot it. She ended up almost forgetting about it and had to stay up all night just to prep to do it. And then apparently she just looked up some new wave, old school 80s goth type shit and ended up just pulling her own thing together from there, and she just winged it, you know what I mean?
They made a reference in the script of Susie and the Banshees, so I looked at a lot of performances of theirs live. I like Lena Lovitch. I think she's a weirdo, and she had a lot of really interesting music videos. And then I found a lot of footage, like there's like hours worth of footage of goth kids in clubs in the 80s dancing. And it's nice to kind of see them enjoy themselves a little bit. And I took some of the stuff that they do and added it towards the end, just as like free improvising, dancing back and forth stuff.
So it's pretty crazy to see how she was able to throw that together so last minute, in a sense, and still deliver something so damn well done and so funny. And to me, is an immediate classic moment in the modern time today. When you're talking about streaming, you're talking about TV shows, pop culture, that's going to be a moment you're going to see recreated on fucking Reels and TikTok and all that bullshit. You're going to be seeing that all the time. You're going to see tons of Wednesday Addams next year for Halloween, and you're going to see that dance go down somewhere. Someone's going to do a video, something. You're going to see that for a long time. I think the only other moment that was actually as cool as that, I'm just saying just that moment for TV this year, was the Eddie Munson Master of Puppets fucking performance in the goddamn Upside Down Stranger Things 4. For those that don't know, man, you're living under a rock. Go watch that goddamn scene, baby. Master of Puppets, man, 1986. Love it, man. Killing it. But yeah, man, absolutely love Jenna Ortega in this role. Wednesday Addams, absolutely always dug that character, but she makes me love it even more. And like I said, man, this is a fun show, not necessarily top tier television or anything like that, in my personal opinion, but it's damn good TV. It's a damn good time. I definitely will revisit it around like the fall, you know what I mean? probably like every couple like Halloween, like every couple years around Halloween season, you know what I mean? Getting into the fall season, I'll be definitely checking out some Wednesday, man. Going to my favorite episodes, some of my favorite moments, man. Like the first 4 episodes to me were the strongest out of the entire show. I do like the other 4, but I do think those first 4 episodes, man, just back to back, were just so damn engaging, kind of had me on the edge of my seat a little bit with the mystery in a certain sense, and it was just so damn entertaining. So I dug the series a lot, had a really good time with it. I think I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 7.5 out of 10. I really dug it, and I'll be looking forward to that season 2 because, like I said, it's all but confirmed right now. So I'm telling you, by the time some of you watch this down the line within the next several weeks or a month from now or something, anytime in the near future, Wednesday Season 2 will be confirmed. I'm calling it right now. But let me know what y'all thought about this whole Season 1 of Wednesday, man. Tons of people are watching it right now. Everybody seems to be loving it. I really enjoy it. But if you didn't, if you did, if you loved it, if you fell anywhere in between, doesn't matter to me. I want to get into a discussion with you and have a great time talking about it. And everybody here on the Fandom Frequency team would love to have a discussion with y'all on any topic at any time. Make sure you hit us up on our social medias and everything. Drop into the comments on any of our pieces of content, any of the videos here on the channel. We would always love to get into a discussion with y'all and nerd out, man. We got a lot of great stuff on the way right around the corner for the holiday season, guys. We got some Christmas content to end the year of 2022 for y'all, and we're gonna have our top 10 movies, TV shows, and horror movie of the year ranking. And we're going to have top 10 albums of the year for our music podcast, Fandom FM. We just launched that a little while ago, just about a week or so ago now. So make sure you tune in next month in January for the top 10 albums of 2022. I'm going to be getting into that on the podcast over there. That's something I'm kind of doing solo dolo right now, but we're going to be bringing on guests and all kinds of stuff in the future. And we're going to have a ton of content coming at y'all fast, quick, and in a hurry. And much love to each and every one of you new subscribers that's been coming in this week and any time in recent times, man. We appreciate each and every one of you. Welcome. Hope you're having a good time, enjoying the content, and we hope we keep giving you that Fandom Frequency dopeness. But until next time, guys, make sure you stay safe. You look out for your loved ones. Make sure you stay tuned. Don't sleep. Happy holidays, y'all. Peace.